Hi, today I'm gonna tell you about a story I just read called Notes from Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky. So Notes from the Underground is split into two parts. The first part introduces us to the Underground Man. The Underground Man is a miserable old prick who lives alone and writes notes about how much he hates his life. Sounds like me. He's sick and ugly, but he's smart. But he thinks that this makes him miserable. He believes that if you're intelligent, then society hates you, and you should just suffer like he does. Wow, isn't he pleasant? Okay, so the first half of the story is the less interesting part because it's basically just one long rant about how much Underground Man hates everything, and he talks about his masochism fetish, how he takes pleasure in toothaches and liver pain because he thinks that he deserves it. Then he has an existential crisis about how he's not insignificant enough to be an insect, how he's not lazy enough to be a bum, how he's not wicked enough to be a scoundrel. I don't know, man. I mean, you're a pretty big negative Nelly, so if you want to pick up the scoundrel thing, you're probably not too far off from that. And then the second section describes events that happened in Underground Man's early years, describing how he became the way he is. So he meets up with a whole bunch of people, and we shortly find out that Underground Man is very socially awkward and cannot relate to anybody around him because he thinks that he's so much smarter than everyone else. So one of the things that Underground Man decides to do is, have you ever walked into a party and you didn't know anyone there, and you're just like, okay, this is a bad idea, maybe I should just leave. Well, Underground Man basically invites himself to that exact situation. Underground Man decides to invite himself to a social gathering with a bunch of people he used to know from high school, who he didn't even like. I guess he wants to prove himself or something? I don't know. Let me just tell you something, you couldn't pay me enough money to hang out with people I knew from high school, whether I liked them or not. But whatever, Underground Man seems to think that this is a good idea. He makes these people that don't even want him to be there pay for his drinks and shit. Like, what's the matter with you, Underground Man? Aren't you supposed to be socially awkward? That is not how socially awkward people act, and I would know. Anyway, then while he's at this place, he meets a prostitute, whom he proceeds to preach to about how she's ruining her body, and he paints a lovely little picture about how she's gonna die one day, a horrible death, and how he's like foreseen her future. I mean, I'm no expert on flirting, but pretty sure that's not flirting, Underground Man. It also seemed kind of weird to me that he's suddenly taking an interest in somebody else and trying to help them. I mean, since when does Underground Man care about other people? I mean, shouldn't he be off somewhere brooding? But anyway, the prostitute decides that she wants to come back to Underground Man's apartment. I don't know what possibly could have made her want to spend even more time with this weirdo. While she's there at his apartment, he starts to unintentionally insult her throughout the entire visit until she leaves. That's the Underground Man that I know. And that's where it ends. Then the author decides to break the fourth wall and tell us, oh, the notes keep going, but I've decided to end it here. But Underground Man, he can't control himself. He kept writing. But we don't need to see any more of that shit. Well, are you kidding me? He's like the funniest guy I've ever read about. You mean we don't get to read about the time he kicked a box of puppies or stole an ice cream cone from a 4-year-old because he thought that he was smarter than her? Damn. So basically, Underground Man is a super socially awkward, self-loathing, insecure guy who comes off to everybody else as a miserable asshole. Oh my god. I am Underground Man.